What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. So for today's video, we have the honor to have a very special guest. We have Terry Williams, President and COO of OneUnited Bank. Welcome to the channel, Terry.
Thank you for having me. Thanks. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. For those who are not aware, what is OneUnited Bank? When was it founded? Explain a little bit about OneUnited for those who might not be aware.
Yeah, sure. So, OneUnited Bank is the largest Black-owned bank in the country. We have offices in Boston, Miami, and LA, but we're also a digital bank, and we launched our digital platform in 2006. So we've been doing it for quite a while. And we have customers all over the country in all 50 states. And I just want to do a shout out to Alaska because
Wow.
I was just talking to their Black Chamber of Commerce. So we're all over.
So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and your journey to becoming, COO at one of the largest the largest Black-owned bank in the United States?
So in addition to being president, I am also owner of OneUnited Bank. And my background, just so you know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I come from a small town where white people lived on one side, Black people lived on the other. Indiantown, Florida. But my great-grandmother, my honey, was a businesswoman. I used to follow her around. She owned a juke joint, a penny candy store, a barbecue pit, and some real estate. I used to follow her around. And I think that's where I got my inspiration for being a businesswoman from the time I was, a kid. And I tell that story because, I also went to Brown University, majored in economics, Harvard Business School. And I used to give that resume when I told my story, but I realized that really I'm my honey's great-grandchild, and that the reason I am who I am is because what she instilled in me as a kid. And I encourage our community to find the Mahanis in their life because that's really who makes us strong.
Speaking of impact, how is OneUnited making an impact in the community? What sorts of initiatives does OneUnited currently have?
And no, thank you for asking that because it's not just that we're the largest. We're also an institution that's focused on building wealth in our community, and we're unapologetically Black and focused on the Black community. You don't have to be Black to bank Black, but that is our focus in terms of where we're trying to build wealth. And we have many initiatives to do that. We do things, really, we recognize that our community is very broad, from people that, need to rebuild their credit. We have a secured credit card program, people that have check systems records. We have a second chance checking account program. We have, Cash Please, our small dollar short-term loan program, to people that are actually further along in their journey and really want to look at investments and savings and want to focus on, having profitable businesses, and one of the things I'm promoting, buying profitable businesses. So our community really runs the gamut. And as an institution, we're really focusing on helping every element of our community, every aspect of our community, build community wealth and close the racial wealth gap.
Now, a couple of points I wanted to just highlight in terms of some of the initiatives that you mentioned, the Cash Please, the secure credit card, as well as the second chance, banking. So I know, especially with our subscriber base, one of the biggest questions I always get when we do different financial reviews is their check systems, because that seems to be a big barrier just getting into the banking system. If you've had any, previous accounts that, may have gone into check systems. With the second chance bank account, if someone is in check system, are they able to apply for that account?
So yes, if you have a check system, first of all, a lot of people don't even know what check systems is. So really applaud you for sharing that with our community and with your audience, knowing what check systems is. A lot of people like check systems. I mean, you hear credit scores, but you really don't hear about check systems. And it is a credit agency. And because we don't hear about it, a large percentage of our community, actually about 30%, have a check systems record and can't open a bank account with any bank. We, many, many years ago, began offering a second chance checking account where even if you have a check systems record, you can open a bank account with us. And even more than that, you can actually graduate from that check systems account to a regular bank account by contacting us after a year. And by responsibly using your account for that year, you can, quote, graduate out of that check systems or that second chance checking account. And what we're really trying to do is to help our community understand responsible banking. The reason that you have a check systems record is because you overdrew an account, and then the account was the bank had to close the account because you didn't pay the overdraft. And so we really try to encourage our community to avoid overdrafts, but also if that did happen to you, to give you a second chance to get back on track.
And I also saw, the secure credit card, right? So that's a product where, someone will put down a deposit and then be issued a secure credit card. What are some of the benefits to that? And, is there a credit check? If so, is there a particular credit bureau that's being used? And, what are the qualifications for that secure credit card?
So we only use the credit just to ensure identity. There's no minimum credit score. You could have the worst credit score in the world. We don't check your credit score. There's no minimum. There's no credit check for the purpose of checking your credit. And that's what's great about our secured credit card is that there is no credit score check. In addition to that, it's not only good if you do have, quote, bad credit or a low credit score, but it's also good if you don't have any credit. A lot of times, our teenagers, we want to educate them about having a credit card. A secured card is a really great way to get them started on building credit and to do it responsibly. And by the way, our Unity Visa card is a credit card. It is, to the merchant or to anyone that you show it to, it is a credit card. There's nothing, that says secured credit card, behind the scenes, because also a lot of people in our community who do have bad credit and they want to rent a car, and a lot of car rental companies don't allow you to use a debit card. So a Unity Visa secured credit card is really good for that as well.
Now, what I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about is this new Cash Please loan, right? Where I believe it's up to $1,000 without having to undergo a hard credit check. What was the purpose of implementing this new product? And can you go over what qualifications customer has to meet in order to be able to qualify for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we realized that certain members of our community are using check cashers and payday loans. And we were trying to figure out a way to really provide a service that allowed them to avoid that. And so our Cash Please program does no credit check. Actually, we don't do a credit check at all. And it is up to $1,000. And it is a short-term loan. So you do pay it back over 90 days. You can then, after a week, you can get another one. So you have to sort of pause for a week and then you can get another one. But the idea of it is to help our community avoid check cashers, payday loans, and overdrafts. If you can see, a lot of times emergencies happen, things we don't expect. We got a flat tire, or, the refrigerator broke, or, things that, even some things that are positive, like, our child got into some program that we didn't anticipate
Right.
that cost, a few $100s. And the idea of the program is to make it available quickly. The money's deposited into your account in 4 hours. So to make it available quickly and to give our community another source of funding that we deserve. I want to say that we deserve. So we have to, a lot of times we have to figure out how to do these programs. They're not programs that are typically done by banks, whether it's our secured credit card, our second chance checking account, or Cash Please. These are not programs that are done by most banks. But we see the need in our community. And the good thing is that there's enough of us here that have a lot of banking experience that we can figure out how to use banks for good. And that's really what we're doing here is our goal is to be, Black America's Bank. Our goal is to provide all this, as well as others,
Right.
but is to provide services that, we see are needed in our community, particularly that other banks are not providing.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I observed as well, because, when I was looking for banking services, I wasn't aware of a lot of the different minority depository institutions or CDFIs. Usually, you'll go based off what you see on TV, the big banks who do a lot of marketing. But one thing I realized is that, some of those big, larger institutions, business models might not fit customers who might be just starting out, or maybe, starting from a deficit, whether it's their financial or credit journey. So it's really important for institutions, especially like OneUnited, to offer some of these different products that are really, filling the void when it comes to financial services. So definitely applaud, all the initiatives that you have going on. The last thing I wanted to follow up with is the partnership with Lendistry on the business side. Can you talk a little bit more about that partnership and what that has to offer OneUnited customers?
So we specialize in real estate secured lending. We don't have the expertise for the business lending that we knew our community needed. So we went out and found a really good partner. In fact, we came together on the Paycheck Protection Program. We partnered on that and were able to get loans out to small businesses in our community that were really being overlooked by the larger banks. Lendistry is a Black-led fintech, and just to put them in perspective, they've done billions of dollars of small business loans. And what we saw when we partnered with them on PPP is how they treated our customers. And so we were like, this is a good partner for us. And so we launched this year a small business loan program that offers from $50,000, that's the minimum, up to $5 million in lending, in loans. You need to be in business for 2 years and, profitable so that you can support a loan. But I also want to encourage our community to think about using our program to buy existing businesses. I mean, the reality is, I bought a community bank, actually 4. We bought 4 community banks and rolled them into one to become OneUnited. One of the things that, we talk a lot about in our community are starting a business and startups, but there are a whole lot of businesses out there that we can buy, particularly now, because a lot of Black-owned businesses were started in the 60s and 70s, and the owners of those businesses are getting old. And they're looking to retire. I actually had an uncle that had a dental practice, and he ended up selling it not to someone in our community because he couldn't find someone in our community. And so he sold it to a woman, but another, not someone in our community. And, I look around and I'm just like, gosh, we need to start focusing on buying businesses as well as growing businesses. And this small business loan program that we have with Lendistry can finance both growing an existing business, but also buying an existing business.
That's very interesting. So can you walk through like how that looks? Let's say, for example, I want to purchase a business and maybe I don't have an existing business myself. Is that a possibility? Or would it be, for example, an existing business owner, if they want to acquire an existing business, would they still need to be, the 2 years time in business and profitable in order to be able to acquire another business? Or could it be someone who's just brand new? Maybe they, have a little bit of capital to put towards it. Their credit might be good. How does that process look like? I'm very interested in.
One of the things that we sometimes don't see are the businesses that are in our community that have been there for years. So it is important to join the chamber, of commerce in your community and start to get to know those businesses. And to even the head of the chamber to say, are there any businesses that you think in our community are for sale? That where the owner is looking to cash out, retire. And I can guarantee you they'll be able to identify for you the businesses that where the owners are looking to retire and need to, sell their business. And in most cases, if the owners don't have kids, that want to go into the business. I mean, we're talking, it could be funeral homes. It could be, Black-owned newspapers, there are a whole lot of businesses in our community where, again, they were started in the 60s. The owners are 70, 80, 90 years old, and they need to retire. So what you do is is you talk to that business owner, agree to a purchase arrangement, and then contact us through, to Lendistry, say, I want to buy this business. The good thing about those businesses is that they have cash flow. They've been profitable for years, and they will look, Lendistry will look at that business and see, the price that you want to pay for it to see whether or not it can be financed. It's a new area for us as a community. It's not one that we have focused on, but I'm really, really pushing us to do so, because otherwise we're going to lose, these legacy businesses that we have. And when you look at those legacy businesses and add, sort of you young folks and, the technology part to it, those businesses really can grow. You think about whether it's Black newspapers that now have this online presence. You think about dental practices that, you can't find them on, social media. You just create social media buzz about, a dental practice, you're going to start to see more customers. I mean, when you add, what we use today in terms of marketing ourselves to those legacy businesses, you can easily see how they can grow.
We cover a lot of topics about, starting businesses. But to your point, again, what about those businesses? Maybe you have a grandparent or uncle who, is looking to retire. What happens to that business? And I think there's a lot of value in, continuing that legacy with a lot of these different, businesses. So very, very interesting stuff right there.
I just pause you for 1 second? Because I do think a lot of people in our community think it is going to be like an uncle, like, okay, you had to be born into a family that has a business. But I guarantee you that most business owners don't have a family member to turn that business over to. That, you could be their
right.
their owner. So don't just look in your family, look in our community, because they are there looking for us, as the next generation to take over. And I just want to encourage our community to start looking.
So last question I wanted to ask. So for those considering a banking and financial institution, what's one of the reasons why a prospective customer should, open up an account with OneUnited in Bank Black?
So first of all, it is so important that we have Black-owned banks and Black-owned businesses. We're more likely to be located in the Black community. I am actually in Liberty City and in Miami, the Black community in Miami right now. We're in Compton and South Central in LA, we're in Roxbury and Dorchester and Boston, and we're, every, city, almost every city, I shouldn't say every city, but a lot of our cities have Black banks, and we hire from the community. We lend to the community. Only 2% of the lending of national banks goes to the Black community, whereas 70% of our lending goes to the Black community. So it's really important to support Black banks. And it's also important. You get better service. We know you, you call us, you're going to call people in our community that know who you are and the services that we offer. First of all, our services are better. As I always say, our ice is actually colder. We have, and I'm going to use this as an example, you can use Chase and Citibank ATMs, surcharge free with us, as well as MoneyPass. So we have more ATMs available across the country than any bank. And, we have the Cash Please program, we have the Small Business Loan program, and we have Chex's, the Second Chance Checking Account program. So, we have better services, auto save, you get paid 2 days early. We have better services. Our ice is colder, as I like.
Absolutely. Well, definitely appreciate you coming on the channel and, sharing a lot of information, a lot of wisdom with our audience. Anyone is interested in joining OneUnited, checking out some of the different products, including the Cash Please, secure credit card, you got business lending, as well as second chance checking accounts. I've dropped a link in the description of the video. Well, it's been a pleasure, Terry. Yeah. Great having you. And
thank you. Thank you for what you do, too, because it's really important to educate our community. So